Today on Primetime Local News, I'm joined by Karen Spencer. She's a project coordinator with the Simpson Center, which is part of the School of Public Policy at U of C. Karen, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no worries. Happy to be here.
So you've released research talking about Alberta's agri-food industry and how that relates to the economics with COVID. What can you tell me about what you found?
Sure. So the Alberta Futures Project is a series of reports that really were trying to focus on various parts of Alberta's economy and environment to help Alberta look at how to recover and grow after the COVID year that we've had. And we focused on the agriculture industry specifically. What was really interesting was almost the very first thing that we found was that while most other industries within Alberta had suffered and dropped in terms of GDP, the ag industry actually had grown in exports and had grown in value. And so we felt a couple of things were really positive and really highlighting the potential for the ag industry to help kickstart the Alberta economy and get it growing and provide those jobs that so many people lost in the last year. And back in 2017, the Barton report pointed at this when it did point out already that the ag industry in Canada and of course in Alberta had above average growth rates and growth potential. This last year showed that as well.
And with the rise in exports, which areas of Alberta's agri-food sector saw the most growth?
So great question. I think pretty much everything, but of course, a big highlight for 2020 was grains. The grain market, of course, is one that relies on nature. And of course, last year we had a really, really good combination of factors with our ideal environment and conditions last year. We had exceptional yields. And of course, it just went to places globally, partly because some other countries that are exporters chose to cut back their exports in some ways because of concerns of lack of supply due to COVID and so on. So we took advantage of that. And so that was one big area.
Yeah, and unfortunately, most of Alberta's grain yields won't really be measuring up to last year's numbers. With that being said, how will that have an impact on the international trade market?
If you look at the long term, our forecasts are very, very positive. What we recommend, I think, in this report, and of course you've seen in recommendations elsewhere as well, is different methods to really support farmers during a year like this year so that they can continue to have that long-term positive impact on the economy and can get through the odd year like this year.
And looking towards the future, I know that Alberta's agri-food industry is already a very, very large industry in the province. What's next?
So that's a great question. I think one of the things we're seeing already with, I think, a relatively recent announcement on biofuels, actually a big biofuels facility being built in Fort Saskatchewan outside of Edmonton, is food processing. So we'll see a fair bit of additional food processing focus within our province and of course Canada in general. And those types of projects keep our product within Canada until it's processed. It produces more jobs for Canadians until that product is again exported potentially or used domestically. So that's a really good thing. And I think we'll see more of that. We'll also see hopefully governments working to tweak a few policies to help stimulate investment, help manage the risk profiles for farmers and ranchers. And then, of course, a big part of the industry is leading the sustainability challenge. And that in itself is kind of a part of the agriculture economy, actually, where it is a new market or part of our market where we're aiming to increase productively and add to the economy, but there's a demand now for how to do that sustainably. So what we've seen in the recent years is more of that, and with precision agriculture and other tools available to us, and we'll continue to see more of that as well.
Absolutely. Well, Karen, thanks so much for joining me today and being able to share this research.
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Jillian.